welcome to Vlogmas Day 5. Today we are doing the book recommendation tag. I have seen a lot of people do this and I wanted to join in and give my opinions and kind of go through some of my favorite books, some books that I didn't like, and some recommendations that you should read if you have not read already. I just took some questions from other people's videos and I put together a list of my books that I have read that follow these tags. So we're just going to start with the first one. And that is a book that you tell people is your favorite. And I'm trying to do like a different book per tag because I don't want to do like the same book for every single tag. Like I could probably add like the whole Akatar series for so many of these. But a book that I tell people is my favorite. I'm going to pick Finale. This is the third book in the Caravel trilogy by Stephanie Garber. I loved this trilogy so much. Like I definitely want to reread this because I just remember like the feeling of reading this book, and I cried when it ended too because I was just sad that I had to say goodbye to the characters. But she did do another trilogy that is fully out right now, and that is the Once Upon a Broken Heart, like that whole trilogy that has some of these characters in it, or at least one that I know of. I haven't read it yet, but I really want to, and it's been really hard for me to not read it. So yeah, a book that I tell people is my favorite is Finale. A book that is my guilty pleasure. I'm going to pick The Love Hypothesis. Really, it's any Ali Hazelwood book. Like I will read all of her books. Every single one, doesn't matter what it's about, I'm gonna buy it and read it because her writing is just so fun and I fly through these books. I love every single character. It's just, they're so much fun to read. I have to definitely reread this because it's been, I want to say like a couple of years since I read it, but I remember really loving it, and all of her books are 5 stars for me. The next one, a book everyone loved but you did not. So I actually DNF'd this. I tried super hard to read it, but I also started reading this when, like right after I got my Kindle, and I really wanted to just read books on my Kindle. So that could have something to do with it, but I also was just not really getting into it. Like I think I got close to 100 pages in, and it's not a very long book. There's maybe like 300 some pages. Yeah, like 350, and I just could not do it. I tried. I'm definitely going to try and read it again eventually, but that is Daisy Jones and the Six. I know so many people love this book. They have a TV show out on Amazon Prime, and that's why I was trying to read this before the show came out, but it just didn't work out that way. I might still watch the show, otherwise I'm going to try to read this eventually, but I just have so many other good books that I want to read, and I'm not going to force myself to read something if I'm not vibing with it, if that makes sense. A book that you read the fastest, The Love Wager. I read this in a day, which I never read books that fast, and I know that this is kind of short. It's like just under 300 pages, but that's still really fast for me. Normally it takes me like at least 3 days to read a book, sometimes like 5 to 7 days, but I just really loved her writing, and I've loved every single book that I've read from Lynn Painter. It's so effortless to read her books. Like the characters are all super lovable and enjoyable, and her stories are all super interesting. A book that deserves more hype. So thanks to Destiny, I bought this book like the day I saw her talk about it, and I loved it. I think I read this book in a couple days, which is also fast for me, but that is Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. I have read 2 books from her now, and I've loved every single one. I think I gave both of them a 4-star, but really they're like 4.5 for me, and I just love these characters. Yeah, there's a dog in here too, so if there's a dog in a book, I'm automatically going to love it even more. So this is a book that needs more hype, so go read it if you love contemporary romances with hockey in it, dogs in it, funny characters, good storyline. Go read it. A book from a genre you don't typically read. Hooked by Emily McIntyre. This is in the Never After Yet Never After series. I have this one, Scarred and Wretched, and I've only read this one, but I ended up giving it a 5-star, which I was surprised because I don't think I really would normally enjoy like a dark romance book, but the characters, I just love them. I remember thinking about the characters in this book for like days after I read it, which normally doesn't happen very often for me, but I really love this book. I actually bought it for my sister so she can read it, because I think if you love villains, and this is a Peter Pan retelling, but if you love Disney movies, Disney characters, the villains, you'll definitely love this. A book that deserves all the hype that it gets. Beach Read by Emily Henry. Really any Emily Henry book that I've read, except for The People We Meet on Vacation. I did not really enjoy that, but I read that so long ago that I feel like I might enjoy it more now. But I loved Beach Read. I love the characters. I definitely need to reread this though, because it has been a while, but whenever I see someone talk about it, it brings me back to like how I felt when I was reading this, and it definitely helped me get back into reading. Like this and The Love Hypothesis, these were like the first 2 books that I started reading again, and I just loved it. A book you usually recommend when asked to give a recommendation. I'm going to pick Caravel, especially if someone wants to get more into fantasy. This is a very easy fantasy book and series to get into, because it doesn't really take a lot of brain power and like the story building, and it doesn't really take that much effort to read it. It's just a very fun story with really great characters, and she does a great job of not doing too many details where you get overwhelmed. Like, it's not a very thick book, but you get just enough information where you feel like you're there with them, and it's just a great series. I absolutely love the series, like I said earlier, but it's just one of my favorites. A book that has your favorite character. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna pick this, but I'm picking A Court of Mist and Fury because I love Reason, I love Cassian, I love Azriel, I love them all, and Feyre. Like, they're just all amazing characters, and I had so much fun reading this entire series, and I can't believe that it's not over yet. Like, we have, I think she says she's gonna bring the next book out in 2024, but I'm hoping it's earlier because I don't want to wait that long, because the last book did end on a cliffhanger, but this was about my favorite character, wasn't it? Yeah. So, my all-time favorite character, the Bat Boys, Reason, Cassian, Azriel, all my favorite. A book you wish you could live in. That Kind of Guy, the Queen's Cove series, really just any book that is a small town, you know everyone, and there's so many like cute little small businesses. I would love to live somewhere like that, because it would just be so much fun to like go in a coffee shop and have like the owner be like your friend, and she knows your order by heart or something. I don't know how I came up with that. I would just love to live in a small town like that. A book you thought you would hate but ended up loving. So I picked The Deal by Elle Kennedy. This is the first book in the Off-Campus series. I just saw so many mixed reviews about it. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it, but I felt like I had to read it just because this is like one of the most hyped up book series. That's like a romance book series, so I feel like I had to see what all the hype was, and I really enjoyed this one. I think I gave it 4 stars. The rest of the series was like a 3-star maybe, but this one was the best one. I loved the characters the most in here, and I loved when these characters showed up in the other books in the series. If you're going to read the series, I definitely recommend at least reading this one. I feel like you don't have to go into the other books, but they are all connected by like the characters, if that makes sense. But I really enjoyed this one, surprisingly. A book that made you cry. I was going to do the ACOTAR series or Caravel series, but I'm trying to do a different book per like prompt. I picked By a Thread. I recently read this. I finished it yesterday. Was that yesterday or 2 days ago? I think it was yesterday. I gave this 4 stars. I know a lot of people gave it 5 stars, but it just wasn't giving me that 5-star feeling. It took me actually a really long time to read this, and it is really thick. But I read it on my Kindle, and it still took me forever to read it. Like, I felt like I was just like dragging on. But the end was super cute. There's just something that he does for her to help her dad out, and it was just so sweet. And I definitely cried. The last tag is a book you wish you could read for the first time, and that is Love Theoretically, another Allie Hazelwood book. I love this one. This is definitely like my favorite one that she has written. I love the characters so much, the storyline. Like, I felt like there was just so much depth in this book, and way more than like her usual books go. But I absolutely loved this book. And that's going to be it for my book recommendation tag. Let me know what books you would recommend for each question, and let me know if it's the same as mine, if it's different, if you agree, if you disagree. But please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you are not already. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.